Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Simplified Profits. With over 23 years of experience, I'm Anthony. We're going to do a real quick, transparent update video. It is Easter weekend. I hope everybody has a great weekend, great Easter. Stay safe out there. Now, right now, we're looking at the end of March. So we are at 35% basically at the end of March, as you can see there, and beating all the major indexes by, might as well say, roughly 25%. And we've really accomplished all our goals all the way out to May. Right, our goals are 7 to 8% a month. Um, if you think about it, we've accomplished that out to May. Right, we should be sitting at 21% this month, 7, 14, 21, and we're roughly at 35%. So we're way ahead of the game, and we plan on staying that way. If we could stay on this pace, 10 to 11% a month, it's even a bigger deal. Right? Compound interest is a beautiful thing, and you'll see as we grow this account. If you haven't been following the Transparent Account, it's an account we started at the beginning of this year, 2024, and we've started with $2,000. We've been adding 20% of our portfolio or our income, as it's your greatest tool to build wealth, and trying to compound interest of roughly 7 to 8% a month by the principles in the book Simplified Profits. And this is where we are. So let's jump into our current positions real quick, and then we'll jump into some stock charts. So here are our current positions. So on the 27th, we entered these, which would have been Wednesday. So we entered these positions on Wednesday. Now, we were up 35% prior to this, and we had a little bit to play with. So we actually lost about a percent, actually about 0.75% on a short, which I don't recommend anybody doing, and we'll show you in the stock charts. Now, I've shorted the market before, and I've always recommended against it, and we've always made profit on it. This time, I wasn't getting in with a game plan to lock in profit unless it basically dropped. I had a game plan. Very rarely do I set stop losses, but we're up so well on this account. I figured I had a good percent to play with. And we'll jump into the stock chart, and I'll show you that loss. We just basically locked in a loss on TZA, which is the inverse of IWM's leveraged ETF for small caps. But we made that up basically right away in these two positions once we locked that loss in. Second loss for the year, one was on GD, General Dynamics, which if we would have held through earnings, we would have been up huge, not huge, 5 to 10% on that. But we didn't want to hold through the earnings, so we locked in a very small loss in that. But still crushing it. Normally, don't, like I said, don't like to take losses. But as you can see, we entered UTSL. Now this is a utilities leveraged ETF based on XLU, and I'll show you that when we jump into TC2000 here in a minute. And you can see where our price paid was 21.83. Total gain, we're up almost 5% already, 4.31%. And it is roughly 12%, almost 13% of the portfolio. And then we also entered LABU, which is the leveraged version of XBI, pharmaceutical ETF. And you can see we entered at 129.96, up roughly 2% on that. And it's about 18% of our portfolio. We're still sitting on 5,500 cash to manage these positions and put to work, depending on what next week brings us. So let's jump into the stock charts. And you can see the account value, pretty plain and simple, 8,027. Available for reinvestment and withdrawals, 5542, and we'll be looking to put that to work next week, or be patient and wait till a little later. Let's jump into TC2000 real quick. TC2000, that's ITA, that's Aerospace Defense ETF. I was really wanting to enter that. I was hoping that would pull back again with everything going on around the world. And we did trade that, locked in profit. But we did enter last time. It was oversold. Should have entered this time, but with everything going on with Boeing, we stayed away. Last time I think we entered here, we had to manage that position and got out. You have to go back and look at some of the previous videos, but locked in profit on that trade. So we entered XLABU, which we were in this few weeks ago. If you look, we entered here back on 319. We basically scalped it real quick. We're being very, very cautious this year. Usually we're up more than this, but being cautious this year with everything going on. And it actually pulled back. I want to say we locked in 8% that week, and we entered this again on the 27th, right there. You've seen the amount we entered on the previous screenshots. And I mean, that could easily rally another 10%, which would bring LABU up, a good 30% run. Whether or not we'll wait for that and, look for that before we lock in gain, that I do not know. Like I said, it's crazy out there. We're trying to stay cautious. We're really scalping things almost more than we're holding through swings. And it's just really watching out, weighing risk. XLU. So we entered this because it looked like everybody, and this really broke some rules of mine for multiple reasons. Hasn't had a swing since it came up over the 200-day moving average. It's overbought. It's not oversold. But it looked like when you look at the market, people's entering things like gold, and they're almost looking for safe havens, okay? And if you look at something in which gold has hit new highs on Thursday, ladies and gentlemen, gold has been kind of crushing it over the last couple months. And just something to keep an eye on. Usually when gold's hitting new highs, something's cooking. And let's see, go back to XLU. When I'm looking at the monthly chart, I'm thinking this looks strong enough where this could easily rally up another 15% over the next coming weeks or months, which if it does that, that's going to give you, anywhere from 30 to 45% on UTSL, which is the leverage version we entered. So looking for that to break out, but we'll see what happens next week. Just real quick, it being Easter weekend, I'm not going to shoot another video on the stock market update. But you can see cybersecurity ETF looking overbought or oversold, but it's kind of looking weak. Don't know what's going on here, but it's setting lower highs and the lows are staying about even, so it could easily break through that, pull back to that 200. I'd be cautious about that. We want to see higher highs, higher lows, kind of trending up. XBI, we're in it, and LABU. Hoping that breaks really through the 20-day moving average. That can usually be a little bit of resistance. We'll see how that goes. I hate trading single biotechs, so I really hate trading XBI as well, but you can get some good swings out of it. IYR, this is real estate index. I almost added this to my long-term investment income account here. The leverage version of this we don't really mess with because it's so low volume. This is just kind of to keep an eye on, but I'd kind of wait for it to pull back again. I wouldn't really enter there. XLK, some of these other ETFs, everything is looking really strong. Let's take a quick look at S&P 500, SPY. It's just look ridiculously strong, ladies and gentlemen, almost like it's just walking straight up. If it pulls back, it might touch the 200-day or the 20-day moving average, and it just heads right back on up. Keep in mind a few things. Nobody wants to be in cash right now. That's why gold's hitting all new highs, along with maybe some other reasons. But inflation, which looks like it's going to be sticky, and I know we just got data, but I don't think we're done seeing inflation for a while. So you really don't want to be in the dollar. You don't want to have a bunch of money sitting. You don't want to be sitting on a bunch of cash, ladies and gentlemen. You want to put that money to work, have it in assets, because when inflation goes up, stocks go up as well, right? You don't want to be in the dollar. People put their money in the market. Stocks get more expensive as well. Dow Jones, it kind of broke out. We were hoping it would just swing in the Bollinger Band. We could scalp you Dow a few times. But let's see what happens there. It's overbought. We'll see if it breaks out through that area. Semiconductors, we're keeping our eye on that. I would like to see that pull back, actually. the way that looks is really weird. I mean, may have to look at some shorter term moving averages and that hourly chart to kind of look for a re-entry in that. And that's kind of what we've been doing on a lot of these. We've been paying attention to the hourly chart. It's almost like in this kind of strength environment, the daily swings move to hourly swings, which you got to be cautious on because it's overbought. You can still get that pullback that we're waiting on and get stuck in it. So you kind of want to scalp it, get in, get out, make you a little money. Just watch it closely. Looking at buying opportunities, there's really not much out there, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, this is ETFs. You go to S&P 500, which I looked at. You want to take a screenshot, go through them. AMD starting to shape up. That PE is still too high for me to mess with, but it could easily rally back up to 220. PE's been higher. I believe we added more IBM to our IBM position in our long-term account. You know what? I don't know if I hold that or not. I don't think so. But a star buy for some reason means it probably had definitely got it in one of my accounts to watch. TMO look like it's bouncing back up. But there's not really much out there, ladies and gentlemen. If I did anything, maybe a little IBM. We'll see what next week brings us. It'll be interesting. We may be, watching, trying to make some money and some strength and seeing what XBI does. But we've already enclosed our goals for May, but we're going to try to stick to this 10, 11% a month pace we're on. And we'll see where that brings us come the end of the year. Other than that, I'm out. You guys be safe. Have a good Easter.